Hi, Joanne Peters here again. I am a partner at the law firm Isaac Brandt Lebman and Teeter in Columbus, Ohio. Our phone number is 614-221-2121. I wanted to talk today about an issue that's important for some employers, and that is whether or not to have employees sign covenants not to compete. Covenant is a fancy word for promise. So really the question here is, when would an employer be interested in asking an employee to sign an agreement that says that if the employee leaves the employment with the employer for any reason, that the employee would be prohibited for a period of time and within a certain geographic area from competing with the employer. We call those covenants not to compete. Really, you could call it a contract not to compete or a promise not to compete. There are two things an employer really needs to think about as to whether or not it wants to ask employees to sign a covenant not to compete. One is, do you as an employer really invest a lot of time and money in training the employee on how to perform a certain skill, a profession, certain aspects of the employee's work? If you are in a business where you have to invest a substantial amount of time and money in an employee to really get them up to speed and to run your business and help you run your business well, then you may want to consider asking that employee to sign an agreement that says, hey, if you leave for a certain period of time, you're not going to compete against me. Why do you want to do that? Well, you as an employer want your business to continue if the employee leaves. But if the employee can leave and take all of the knowledge that you have given to that employee about how to do your business, and if the employee can just open up a business right beside yours, well, that employee could put you out of business. So that's one time you may want to think about having an employee sign a covenant not to compete. Another time is if you have trade secrets or very confidential or proprietary information in your business. If you are a business that does a certain task in a very unique way in comparison to your competitors, and how you do it no one really knows, but you do it well, you may have some confidential or what we call proprietary or trade secret information that you want to be sure that that employee doesn't tell people when they leave. That'd be another reason to think about having a covenant not to compete, because usually when we draft them, and I certainly am happy to help you draft a covenant not to compete, but when we draft them, we include not only this agreement against competition, but also we ask the employees to agree to keep your business methods confidential. Now, even if you don't have a covenant not to compete, well, before I skip to that topic, let me tell you this. A question that had been bandied around between the courts of Ohio over a number of years was whether in the middle of employment you could ask an employee to sign a covenant not to compete without offering some payment to the employee to sign that covenant. Well, the Supreme Court of Ohio has made it clear that continued employment is sufficient consideration to ask an employee to sign a covenant not to compete. In other words, that means you, employer, can walk up to an employee and say, if you want to continue working here, you need to sign this contract or this covenant not to compete and agree you won't compete with me when you leave. If the employee refuses to sign it, that would be grounds for you to terminate the employee, and of course that's a decision you'd need to make as an employer. I think I'm going to do another blog on the trade secrets issue, given that this one's gone probably a little long. So check out my trade secrets blog too. Again, you can reach me at 614-221-2121.